right, good evening. The time is 6 p.m. It is Monday, October 16th, 2023. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Argyle ISD Board of Trustees. At this time, we will determine if a quorum is present.
Leona McDade, present.
Josh Westrom, present.
Richie Deffenbaugh, present.
Leanne Artho, present.
Matt Slayton, present.
Craig Hawksworth, present.
Hi, Sam Slayton present. We do have a quorum established. The time is still 6 p.m. and we will adjourn to executive session. All right, good evening. The time is 7:01 p.m. We have returned from executive session. At this time, we'll have a pledge of allegiance.
We have friends from West Elementary here. I know. Come on, West friends. Come tell us your name.
Good evening. My name is Jadot Bianella. My favorite thing about school is science class.
Awesome, very good.
My name is Miles Sims, and I really like all my really good teachers. Yeah.
Thanks, my mind.
My name's Ryan Sims, and I like reading and writing. My name is Nolan Sims, and my favorite part about school is my teachers.
My name is Maverick Bell, and my favorite part about school is math.
My name is Kelsey. My favorite thing about school is my awesome teachers.
My name is Cecilia, and my favorite subject at school is art. My name is Victoria, and my favorite subject is math. My name is Liv, and my favorite thing in school is technology.
Y'all can start whenever. Y'all got this.
Nice job.
All right. Thank you. That was awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Vanderberg. Mr. Bell, thank you.
All right. We'll have a brief moment of silence. All right. Thank you. Okay. Got some special recognition.
We do. Okay, so October is National Principals Month, and we have the best 6 principals in the entire nation, entire world, whatever you want to call it. They are amazing. And so they are here this evening, and this is just a small token of our appreciation for all that they do for Argyle ISD. I'm going to actually read the State of Texas Office of the Governor proclamation that Governor Abbott put out in September, and then we want to celebrate with your small token of our appreciation. So, educators equip our next generation of leaders with the skills and knowledge they need to succeed. The Texas education system depends upon the leadership of dedicated principals who guide their schools to excellence. The commitment, discipline, and support that principals provide ensures student success. Principals must fulfill many needs to make schools effective and to promote student accomplishment. In collaboration with teachers and staff, principals set high academic standards, adopt best practices, and assure compliance with state and federal requirements. Effective principals also function as communicators, policymakers, disciplinarians, and budget analysts. Principals' devotion to their schools make me proud to call them fellow Texans. Each year, the month of October is set aside to honor principals and to recognize the indispensable role they play in our educational system. The Lone Star State is indebted to our principals, who represent the best of Texas values. At this time, I encourage all Texans to learn more about the many contributions and accomplishments of elementary, middle, and high school principals across our state. Principals' drive for excellence will ensure that Texas's future will be better and brighter for all. Therefore, I, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, do hereby proclaim October 2023 to be Principal Appreciation Month. So I would like to take just a moment to speak about our principals and then the Board of Trustees if you would like to share anything. We have Donna Lumsden, Hilltop Elementary. Miss Lumsden, thank you for what you do. It's always a great day to be on the Hill, and so appreciate it when we're out there celebrating your learners. Renee Funderburg, it's awesome to be at AWE. They do amazing things out there, and I think something that stands out is just how well run that campus is. There's a lot of bodies out there, and you guys do a great job loving them. And when I've been on your campus, your staff feels the love that you provide them. So thank you for that. Kristen Haynes is our new principal at Argyle South. I know she's not a new face, but she's in a new role. And Ms. Haynes, you've done an incredible job getting the year started, and we're very proud to have you at South leading that campus. Holly Williams, the center of the earth, right, at 6th Grade Center. You've been in the district for a long time, and very admirable. Everybody I talk to loves Miss Williams, so thank you for what you've done. You've created an incredible environment, getting 6th Grade Center off the ground and running, so thank you. Mr. Gibson, running the 7th and 8th graders every day. That's a lot to say there with you got all the middle schoolers, but every time I'm over at that campus, everyone is smiling, and to have middle schoolers smiling and staff smiling is a huge feat, so thank you for doing what you do. And Mr. King, the flagship of the district at Argyle High School, 13 Lone Star Cubs. You do an amazing job, a man of high integrity, and we appreciate what you do to lead that campus each and every day. So thank you, principals. Anybody else want to share words?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. I mean, we're coming off of homecoming week where it was just a great celebration of the district, and y'all are definitely at the crux of that. And I think every one of y'all have had one of my kids or my wife on their campus, some both. So, but it's been a pleasure to be with y'all on this journey, and just the dedication that y'all give day in and day out. Just greatly appreciate it, making our schools just an excellent environment for our kids to learn and grow. And thank you for your dedication. So appreciate it.
So I was lucky enough to be able to be on your campuses last week, all of you, and to see the things. I mean, I've been there before, but it blows me away every time that I'm there to see the way you manage your campuses, the way you let your teachers do what they know how to do and what they're really good at. I mean, some of the things we saw in classrooms still blew me away. You know, I mentioned on the Hill, what happened on the Hill video, that, you know, in my graduate degree, we did all of our work was in groups. Every one of your campuses is working in groups, and it's just got lasting ramifications, I think, for these kids to learn how to work with each other. And that comes from you guys' leadership. It comes from your teachers. And as Mr. Slayton said, Mr. Sam Slayton, you know, most of you have had my kids or have them now or have had them, taught them, whatever it may be, and it's just been amazing. So I can't thank you enough. You know, a lot of times people come and go, but here we've been pretty consistent, and it's really shows, and so I'm so grateful and thankful to all of you.
Well, I'll reiterate kind of what they all said. Y'all have all been a part of my family's life in some form or fashion, and certainly my kids, and I appreciate everything you do. And you know, one of the things I think about it kind of here governing a little bit, you deal with problems, you know, and people, whether it's in the community, complaints and stuff like that. And people ask me what it's like to be on the board. I go, I don't get a lot of problems. I don't get a lot of complaints. I don't get a lot of things at this board level. It's not a conflict-ridden school, and that's a testament to you guys and your leadership and how you manage things and your people and take care of the family. So we appreciate y'all.
Well, I appreciate the ever-expanding team, because really, as a group of principals, elementary school, you're building our kids, and then Scott, you actually know Miss Williams, you get them now in 6th grade, but then Scott gets them, and it's all being built up to their character and their development and everything, and then John gets to rub it and finish it off, and you do a great job with it. I know 3 of you have led my kids. I appreciate you so much. and the impact you've had on them.
I reiterate everything. Y'all know how I feel about you. I have the utmost respect for what you do. I know what you do every day. And you do it with a smile on your face. You do it respectfully. You have built a community and a family on each of your campuses. And I agree with Mr. Hawksworth when we came by last week. It was kind of a whirlwind seeing all 6 campuses in one day, which was amazing. But you guys pulled it off. You were ready. You were organized. And we just saw such incredible things, from general ed classrooms to special ed to band. That band performance, just I could have sworn they were high school kids. It was amazing to me, and I really appreciate and value everything you do. And I know you work hard every day. So thank you very much.
And there's nothing that I can say that hasn't already been said. You guys are great. You're awesome. You're the best. I will have the opportunity to visit all of you tomorrow.
That's right.
And I guess you can come too. But I'm really looking forward to it. You know, you guys all do a great job. You hear great things all the time from parents, teachers, and we're very lucky to have you. So thank you.
And I will say something new. Well, I've had kids with each one of you, and I can say that you make it fun, and you see the kids. All my kids are always like, my principal knows my name, and it's a good thing. It's not because they're the one who's in trouble. So I just wanted to say thank you for getting to know the quiet kids and the kids that maybe don't want to be seen, and making sure that they feel seen every day. It means a lot. Thank you.
And when your kid's being taught by a principal who's their kindergarten teacher at the time, and they send you pictures of them sleeping, I mean, it's great. So that's still being used today. So, 10 years later, so we appreciate that. So.
And you may have wondered why we were asking for a picture. Now you know, it's in front of you. So we hope that you find a special place for that canvas. Obviously, you sent it to us for a reason when we said send us one of your favorites. So thank you for what you do. It's a very small token of our appreciation, but we appreciate you being here and being a part of this district. So thank you. Okay, so we have another group to celebrate tonight. We have the state of Texas Education Agency, and celebrates Human Resource Appreciation. And as you know, we cannot operate in any organization without having a Human Resource Department. And we have 3 of the most amazing people in our Human Resources Department that I want to recognize this evening. So, Chris Daniel, our Deputy Superintendent, if you'll come up, Mr. Daniel. Morgan Grifford, come on, Mr. Daniel. Morgan Grifford, our Admin Assistant and Leaves and Benefits. Come on, Morgan. And then our HR Specialist, Jessica Meyer. These 3 individuals take care of about 700 employees. Is that about where we are? And from recruiting to onboarding and retaining the highest quality applicants, and then also just our high quality employees in this district. So I want to celebrate you. Thank you for what you do, and we're going to ask the board to come take a picture, and then principals, we're going to get a picture with y'all. So, okay? All right, thank you very much. Mr. Daniel, I'll give you that, and then we'll come around. I'll bring it back up.
Let me change the slide. Good catch.
Okay, the last recognition we have this evening is just wanted to bring to everyone's attention, if you don't already know, we are getting ready to kick off our Bond and Growth Planning Committee next week, actually. And we wanted to unveil the committee tonight. We have about 50 individuals in this committee, nine of which are students? Eight or nine students. I see Cole back there. We got one of our students. Any other students here? Okay, any of our Bond Committee people on this list? Okay, stand up, please, those of you that are here. Oh, wonderful, we have a room full of people. So, just want to publicly recognize the work that they're about to embark upon. If you don't mind putting up the slide of committee members. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about the charge. But you can see here, we have a wonderful cross-section of community. When we were putting this committee together as a district, our internal staff, we were really looking at a balance of community members from each of our elementary zones, and I think we ended up with about a third, and a third, right? Is that kind of where we landed? So we'll have this on the website. You'll be able to see these committee members. Obviously, this is not part of the recording, but we'll also have a website that's dedicated to this process. We look forward to this. There will be 6 full meetings, and then there will be a presentation in January to the Board of Trustees on the recommendations from the Bond and Growth Planning Committee. If you don't mind, Mr. Herron, if you'll switch over. So back in September, Dr. Lizzie Johnson was here to work with the board during a workshop to really define what the charge would be for this committee. And so you'll see here in front of the screen or on the screen, to consider the needs of all students of the district, represent the priorities, expectations, and values of this entire community, use facts and data to make informed recommendations, develop facility plans that support common educational goals of the district, including safety and security, and then understand the district's finances in order to develop and recommend a bond that is fiscally responsible. So we have our work cut out for us as a group. Look forward to working with each and every one of you as we kick off on October 24th, but we just wanted to publicly recognize you, and the board may have a few words that they would like to say.
Just thank everyone for volunteering in advance their time and expertise and being able to go throughout this process. I think Dr. Lizzie Johnson, along with the committee, it's going to be just a fantastic opportunity to continue to look at the needs of this district, and excited about it. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you all. Okay, we're gonna move on to public comments. We have one person signed up to speak tonight. Ms. Spiegelberg, if you'd like to come on up. All right, good evening.
Hi.
You have 5 minutes, as you know, and the board won't make any comments or have any questions, and whenever you'd like to begin, the time is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is just going to be a summary of the email that I sent earlier today. I don't know if you've received it yet, but essentially, I live in Harvest. I live actually equidistant to both Argyle West and ES4. I have told Dr. Carpenter in the past, I don't care which school I go to. I just want to make sure that the decision is done in a well thought out manner, that people in our community are consulted and are asked. There was also the issue that it didn't quite occur to me. I understood that Cleveland Gibbs wouldn't be complete, but I didn't understand the ramifications of that until I attended the Belmont Water meeting last week. You're going to have the people that live in the Ridge driving through the north part of Harvest to get there. And they were talking about them driving through 19th Street, but they weren't taking into account that they would also need to drive through 17th Street. The streets in Harvest, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, you have a 2-car garage that's usually too small for most people because they have trucks. So a lot of people park in their driveways or park along the street. You're going to have a very hard time having all of those cars driving through those side streets, especially in the morning with children walking to school, especially in the winter when it's darker. I will be talking, a lot of my neighbors are here, we will be talking to Belmont to make sure that that's adjusted as well. But we need to make sure that however the zoning is set up, that you have people that can walk to school being zoned to the schools they can walk to easily. You have Old Justin. Old Justin is a 2-lane road. You have Cleveland Gibbs, and it's 4 lanes. That's something that you need to take into account. It might be easier to make one straight line on Old Justin and have everybody north of Old Justin go to one school and south go to another, but when you live there, when you have young children, it does not make sense. I do believe that you're going to need to reach out to the community members in Harvest and the Ridge. I believe that all of you should be walking to both sites in the morning or in the afternoon, just so that you can see how many people are walking with young children, how many children are riding bikes by themselves. You need to have a full scope before you make any decision on zoning. So that's all I wanted to add to what I had already emailed to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, before we get to consent items, to show our appreciation for principals even more, we're gonna take 10E and do it now. We're gonna have campus improvement plans now, so y'all can get home a little earlier. So, that's from Dr. Carpenter. She's watching out for y'all. Sorry, Dr. Jordan, you're here.
I know.
You're stuck.
All right, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our district improvement plans, our campus improvement plans, fondly called SIPs and DIPs. This is for information only tonight, but bringing this back to you in November for your approval. So the district improvement plan, the one that we are operating off of now, was originally created in 2016, 7 years ago. So things have changed a lot since then. So we do have a plan to rewrite our district improvement plan for next year. We've started the basics of that work in our visioning meetings with our principals, but we will enlist the committees and start the full work of it in the spring. We will be using the 806 Technologies software planned for learning. There's a little bit about it right there and what it includes. So for this year in our district improvement plan, there are no major changes. So after the district improvement plan is kind of tweaked from year to year, that goes to each campus, and the campus meets with their campus leadership team and determines the needs for their campus using the district improvement plan as their guide. So the elementary schools, here's kind of a summary of changes that they have made from last year to this year. Our principals are very collaborative, just like our students, and so a lot of the things they're focusing on are district-wide, with a few things that are specific to different campuses. So the transition from iStation to MAP is all of our elementary schools focusing on using our district curriculum, as we have really put a lot of work into our curriculum documents this year. We have moved away from the Lucy Calkin phonics and to foundations. We had some teachers using that, but not campus-wide on all 3 campuses, so that is a new addition. The 7 steps of a language-rich classroom is a focus as well for our ESL students. We have some other things there in our learning spaces. The camera updates was something specific to Hilltop, but all 3 of them are working on the split that's coming up in 24-25, and of course on safety. A couple more things there. Character development, we have yearbook staffs working together to promote student leadership opportunities. We have student council updated, Red Ribbon Week plans updated, but the main thing is that it kind of just now is in line with the district improvement plan. So those are the changes for the elementary. The 6th grade center, this is their first campus improvement plan, but they have modeled it after the one at the middle school. So here are some of the changes that they have made in their campus improvement plan. which actually a lot of them are similar to elementary in different ways. The PLC process, the MAP, those are all about the data analysis, 2 levels of STEM, professional growth opportunities, and really growing some teachers, leaders on those campuses. High school has just a few changes. Hosting the SAT prep course, which we brought you that information the last few weeks, the SAT testing day, which will be coming up in April, as well as an opportunity for the TSIA test in April. Working on our CCMR percentages, and then I'm talking about holding a job fair for new teachers and trying to make sure we get the very best coming to Argyle. Those are all the changes on our campus improvement plans. So you'll have the month to review. If you have any questions, please reach out to me or campus principals, and we'll be happy to clarify. Thanks.
Just one quick
Yes, sir.
question on the standardized testing is near and dear to me because it really makes an impact on kids' college scholarships, et cetera. The SAT prep course, is that also going to be ACT or is it just SAT prep
So
course?
this year we started with SAT, and we're going to offer a school day test for SAT, and again do the prep class is our hope in the spring, with next year expanding that to focus on SAT and ACT.
Okay.
The majority of our students in Texas colleges are going to focus more on the SAT, and that's why we chose to start with that one.
Interesting.
But we do want to grow because students do better on one or the other sometimes.
Yeah.
So yes. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a great evening.
Thank you,
Bye.
principals.
Thank you, principals.
See you tomorrow.
So you took
Yeah,
about
see you tomorrow.
about 100 pieces.
Yes, ma'am.
I apologize, this is our first meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And I thought I signed up to speak, but perhaps I did it wrong, and I was wondering if I could have
Yeah, there's a box on the left-hand side.
that I forgot to check. My
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Um,
why don't we
Would
let
it be all right if I can?
Let me check legally if I'm allowed to, because I don't want to do anything that is out of order. So, she's gonna call the attorney real quick and just make sure we're following everything. So, is there anyone else that signed up that didn't check the box to speak? Okay. All right. There's just an order and process in everything, and so I just want to make sure we're doing everything correct. Typically, once you've gone past, I just want to make sure that we can go back and allow you the time to speak. So, apologize for the inconvenience. So, okay, we're going to move on to the consent items. Okay, for October of 2023 donations, got a good list from the AABC, $8,550 for a Huddle subscription. From AABC, $5,400, $3,900 of that going to wrestling competition sweats and shorts for boys and girls. $1,500 for tennis, motivational boards, record boards, and updates for record boards. From AABC, $4,280.45 for boys basketball, backpacks, hoodies, pants. AABC, $6,125 for new gym scoring table, basketball. From AABC, $24,500 for all sports travel expenses. From AABC, $450 for tennis banners. AABC, $300 for girls soccer locker magnets. An anonymous donation of $150 for AHS band program. AAF donation of $64,000. $50,000 donation to the district. We're missing a zero there, but $14,000 for campus grants. That's $2,333.33 each. From the Argyle Lions Club, $333.34 for Red Ribbon Week, apples for students. Hilltop PTA, $500 for art. Hilltop PTA, $770 for a kindergarten field trip. Total October donations, $115,358.79. All right. Does anyone have any other questions on the consent agenda? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items as presented.
So moved.
Dr. McDade, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Western with a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Ma'am, what was your name?
Jeanette Lesmos.
All right. I apologize. Attorney is advising we stick to the agenda. So I apologize for the inconvenience. You're more than welcome to email Dr. Carpenter and all of the board, and we can get back with you.
It's my mistake, but I do have something important to say, so I would love to be able to do that. And where can I find everyone's email on the website?
It's on the district website. Yes, ma'am. There's a tab at the top for the board, and all of our email addresses are there. And Dr. Carpenter's can be found on the website as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. We're going to move on down to the construction report. Mr. Cohen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, this is our October update for elementary 4. Maybe. You may have to scroll it. You already passed it. Just scroll it.
Yep.
Okay, so they are continuing to pour grade beams, getting ready for more slab pours. Currently on track to have all of that poured by the end of this month, and we should be seeing the masonry block go up in the gymnasium, the storm shelter, this month. So what you're seeing here in these two aerials, what you see in yellow is what they've got prepped for the next slab pour. This has already been poured. The kind of bluish gray area in the middle there, that was the first pour, which was the gymnasium, the storm shelter. And then down towards the bottom, you can see grade beams in place for one of the classroom wings. All right, other major activities that we've got ongoing currently. We're doing lime stabilization, which is a method of treating the subgrade that helps it to resist the penetration of water. So it helps keep our pavements stable so they don't move quite as much and have as many maintenance issues over time. So that happens on all of our fire lanes and parking areas. So they're doing that process and then pouring behind them with concrete. So in the photos here, you can see a strip of concrete there. This is approaching the front of the school from the south, what they've got in place, and they're continuing to move toward the north. On the left-hand side of the bottom photo, you can see Cleveland Gibbs. They've already done the lime stabilization and the grading on that. So this month, we should see the concrete work start on that expansion of Cleveland Gibbs. And then they did complete site utilities this month. Here's some of our milestones that we're tracking. So as I said a minute ago, we are on track to have all of our slabs poured this month. Our steel should start arriving in 2 weeks, and we're currently discussing having 2 crews on site to erect that from 2 ends towards the middle so we can speed up that process. Our vertical construction, which would be our masonry walls at the gymnasium, which will be our first activity going vertical above the slab, that's scheduled to start in a week, with steel about 2 weeks behind that. We're still on track for our substantial completion and opening for next summer.
So what's it going to take to get that July?
To get that July? Well, that's one reason we've got 2 cranes coming and 2 crews to help with the steel. It's just man hours, so really we're just paying for the additional crane to arrive. But the crane time is the same as it would take. We're just doing it twice as fast. So that's the first real thing we're doing to make sure we improve that date. And then, of course, as we get other trades on board, we'll look at other things we can do, which will probably include some overtime and some other activities to try to make that. I told them they need to make it May, so, and I'm hoping they get July. On our early release materials, we've got probably 95% of all of our kitchen equipment in storage, ready to install. Our steel is being loaded on trucks, getting ready for delivery. Our rooftop units, HVAC units, are scheduled to deliver in February. And we've got, again, probably got close to 95% of the electrical switchgear on site. The last of the pieces will be here by March. Then looking ahead, pouring Cleveland Gibbs will happen. We'll see parking lots be paved as well as the rest of the fire lanes. Masonry construction will start, steel erection will start, and then we'll start seeing some interior wall layout and exterior wall framing start.
So I know this is just a rendering. We did change those windows, right? They're going, we raised the base of them up.
We did raise the face of them up.
Okay.
Correct. I believe they start at 6 feet.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? And I'll just mention the orchestra shell installation is actually happening. A little slower than anticipated, but they should wrap it up tomorrow, and we'll do some training on Wednesday. And
Awesome.
I can't wait for the first concert that uses it.
That's going to sound great.
It is. It's been a very long time. 9 months that we've waited for it just to show up.
Yeah. Hearing our band perform last year on South Lake's stage with their acoustical shell, like it was just
Night and day?
Night and day. And like our band, our concert band's amazing, and they just sounded so much,
Now we'll have our own.
better, like with the shell. So it's exciting.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Carpenter, your report.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So I think someone up here mentioned, I think it may have been Mr. Slayton, that homecoming was last week. And yes, if you were a part of that, you saw a lot of activities going on across the district. It was absolutely a huge success. We had a great turnout for the parade and carnival. If you were here, it was on this site. It was the return of the parade for the first time since 2015. And we had a lot of different floats. So that was a lot of fun to see that. The carnival itself drew a huge turnout, and the high school student groups raised nearly $14,000 just at the carnival. So thank you to the community for the support. Mr. Heron and our communications and marketing team, our high school administrative team, and everyone that we had a ton of volunteers working that night, so thank you. Last week, Dr. Jordan conducted our first District Leadership Team of the Year meeting and with our staff and community, so thank you to those members. We had 31 of 33 members that attended, so it was a great turnout, and there's a lot going on, and it was homecoming week as well, so we appreciate those that came to that meeting. Just an update on enrollment. We are at 5,369 students as of Friday. Hilltop's at 661, West 959, South 955, 6th grade center 429, middle school 840, and the high school 1525. We do have on our agenda tonight a class size waiver for South due to going over the 22-1 in second grade. So you'll hear about that more in a minute. And we are closely monitoring second grade at Hilltop as well, because we are two students away from reaching a waiver in that grade level at Hilltop. The demographer snapshot, date, and report. We still do not have updates from our demographer because he has to wait on the snapshot date, which is October 27th. And once he gets that information from the state and the PEEM submission, we're anticipating a full demographer update at the November board meeting, which will also include conversation around the zoning for elementaries. As part of our onboarding and new employees this year, we're honoring them at the Eagle football game on October 27th. We are inviting our new hires and their immediate families to a tailgate, a way to really indoctrinate them into the Eagle family. Looking forward to giving them a big Eagle welcome. So hopefully if you're at the football game, you'll get to see all of our new staff that we've welcomed this year. Just a few athletics and fine arts update. All I can really say is wow. We spoke with our athletic director and our fine arts directors this morning. Marching band looked amazing on Saturday. They marched at Collins over at Denton. And they have now advanced to the area competition on October 28th, so they are one step closer to that state band competition. Cinderella performance at Argyle High School was spectacular. That happened a couple weeks ago. Sister Act 2 at the middle school is getting ready to take off November 2nd through the 4th. Choirs competing at TMEA regionals this week. Our boys and girls cross country have advanced to regionals. They did not make it out last year, and both teams have advanced to regionals this year. Tennis competes in the regional quarterfinals tomorrow in Midlothian, and we are still a top-ranked team in the state. Volleyball is ranked number 4 in the state, still first in district. Looking forward to a long playoff run with our ladies. And then football won a big game at homecoming Friday night over Emerson, and we are still first place in district there. So a lot going on in our fine arts and athletics world in terms of our students and our staff. Please join us for our annual multicultural night on November 9th at 6 p.m. I think in the past it's been at South, is that correct? And it's become such a popular event. We are moving it to Argyle High School. Looking forward to that event. And then later this fall, for the first time, I believe, since 2019, we will be sending out a climate envisioning survey to our staff and community, so be on the lookout for some more information on that. Eagle Ambassadors kicked off last month with 50 participants, and it's time for us to meet again this week. So we will have our October meeting on Wednesday, focusing on school finance and legislative updates. As mentioned earlier, we kick off Bond and Growth Planning Committee next week. And then calling all Silver Eagles. We are rolling out the Silver Eagles program later this month, and the first meeting will be the beginning of December. And our Silver Eagles, it's designed for AISD residents ages 60 and over. So if you or someone you know is interested in that, please watch our social media for more information and timelines. Finally, I want to open it up. I've got a couple of trustees that may have a few things to say on this. We've been communicating a great deal lately about legislative updates. The current legislative special session, our advocacy is ongoing. We've been sending letters. Many of you have probably sent letters, making phone calls. I just want to say it's making a difference. While there's still a great deal of work to be done, I'm proud of the voice of Argyle ISD has had and the open lines of communication we've had, specifically with Senator Parker and our state reps. Right now, Senate Bill 1, which is the Education Savings Account, which many of you know is the term voucher, is on the special session agenda. It's passed through the Senate, it's in the House. Senate Bill 2, which is the bill addressing specifically public school funding, has passed the Senate and it's headed to the House, but it's not yet on the special session agenda. Senator Parker has told us they have built in some solution for the formula transition grant funding cliff that we face, but there will be spending caps. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but I want to be clear that with our advocacy efforts, the FTG would not have even been on their radar. So thank you to Ms. Stewart, thank you to our Board of Trustees as we continue to voice that. So Trustees Westrom and Artho were able to join me in Austin last Monday. We were able to testify in person in front of the Senate Finance Committee. So would either of you like to share a little bit about your experiences?
Yes.
Okay.
I would.
Had a feeling you would.
Because I only had 2 minutes in Austin. But
You only have
2
No.
minutes here.
No. And so it was, you know, I think other than maybe the 4th grade field trip that I might have went on, that was the next time I went to the Capitol. And so it was great to go down there with you, Dr. Carpenter and Leanne. And it was great that our representatives were willing to meet with us. I think we were able to meet with three that day, and you know, and they're wonderful. They take notes. I think they want to figure out what our challenges are. We had a great opportunity to explain to them how dependent we are on the formula transition grant, and I think for the most part, you know, if I had to report anything back, I think they hear that and they understand that there needs to be a solution as it relates to formula transition grants and some type of funding. The disappointment for me is Senate Bill 1, is educational savings accounts, which are vouchers. And I think you guys would, everybody would do themselves a favor just kind of digging into the details, because the devil's in the details. And I think people need to understand one thing. Governor Abbott's dead set on it. He tweets about it every day. This is a special, I mean, this is a PAC. This is a political action committee. This is a sellout to the special interest in politics, and they are funding this deal, and it's all based on the fact that they think that public education is indoctrinating kids. They're giving them bad books, and they're doing bad things. So we need to take all this taxpayer-funded money, and we need to divert it to funding private schools, and so these kids can go to private schools. Because And so the argument I make, and what I'm telling you today, is nothing I haven't said to Senator Parker, who voted for ESAs and vouchers, our senator. And I told him, I said, you are defunding public schools because you believe that there are a few bad districts and bad teachers out there doing bad things. And that's no different, in my opinion, than when you talk about extremists that talk about defunding police departments because there are a few bad police officers and maybe a few bad police departments. And if the extremists were doing that and saying, hey, let's privatize our security and give public tax dollars to individuals to go privatize their security, they would scream you are defunding police with a bill like that. And I don't see that there's any difference in what they're doing on this educational savings account. They think public schools are bad, let's give $500 million. But it's actually worse. Because if you read that bill, these small government, local control politicians are taking $40 million of that $500 million, and they're creating educational assistance organizations at the state level. They're creating a bigger bureaucrat to distribute this $500 million. And they're going to give them $25 million, these EOAs or EAOs, to administer this program. And so you're talking about small government, local control, and they're passing bills that create a bigger, fatter government at the state level. And then they're giving another $15 million to the comptroller. So I just don't understand the hypocrisy, the irony of them saying, hey, we don't want to defund police, well, you're defunding schools. We don't want to create bigger government, where you're creating a bigger, fatter government by Senate Bill 1. And I don't know how they defend it, and I hope you deliver that message to them. I have. They probably have blocked me, and they're no longer listening to me. But what they'll say is they're defenders of public education. My kids went to public school, and you'll get that response. And so they said, well, Senate Bill 2, that's the finance bill. And I think they said we're giving $10 billion to public schools.
30% increase.
30% increase. But here's the problem, is they've restricted all of that $10 billion. These small government, local control have taken that $10 billion and they're telling us where we have to spend it. We have to spend it on campus security. We already do spend money. We allocate our budget to campus to security. I don't need Austin telling us where we need to spend the money. And here's the joke, is they say, trust us. We know what's best. But they just passed a school safety bill 4 months ago. And they said it gave us $15,000 per campus. Okay? We laughed in public education. We said $15,000 to hire police officers? That's a joke. But they tweeted it out. We secured schools. They didn't secure schools with $15,000 because it cost us $125,000 to hire that police officer. And that bill was so bad that they're now back in Senate Bill 2 saying, well, we're going to up that to $30,000. We're going to double it because it was so bad. But in the same breath, they say, but we know it cost $100,000 per school. So think about that. They put a burden on us to spend $100,000, and they're only funding us with $30,000. They're creating a bigger financial hardship because they want to control how we spend it. They're not local control. They're all about big government. And I have begged them, and I said, when you have a school district like Argyle that is meeting the grade, every grade they set out for us, A districts, financial transparency, give us, we know our needs. We don't need them to tell us where to spend the money because they're mad at other school districts. But there's no discussion about it. They just keep doing their pet projects. And they keep growing the fat state government And you watch who they hire to run these educational administration organizations. It's going to be some special interest person that pumped a bunch of money into their campaign and said, you need to support this bill, and then they're going to get $25 million.
Leanne, what'd you say the TEA's budget went from?
So TEA in 2019, when we had the restructuring with HB3, it went from, they had a $400 million approximate budget in 2019, and theirs is up to like $840 million. And they're the ones that rate us, and they're restructuring all the rating, which would make Argyle go from like an A to a C right about the time they're also doing vouchers, which is pinpointing and pointing at bad rated school districts to pull kids out of public education. So it really is ridiculous. I mean, Mike Morath's budget has more than doubled, and ours has basically stayed flat because of how we're funded specifically. We don't get a lot of extra funding for special programs, and the ADA hasn't gone up, but for our specific district, because of our fast growth and just a change in demographics, we have different programs that are needed in our district, but we don't have extra funding to pay for them. So credit to Liz and our leadership for figuring out how to meet the needs of our new students and diversifying population and still maintain the programs that Argyle is expected, the excellence we're expected to give to our students. So looking ahead, I would just make sure you're contacting the representatives, because while we've been able to talk to ours specifically, and I think we got through to them, when we got up and spoke in front of the Senate Finance Committee, I think they were blown away. They had no idea how much it costs to run schools. That whenever Josh said it cost us $125,000 to hire an officer, they were like, whoa. I mean, they had no idea. They think that they're funding us. They talk about everything as a whole. They were gonna increase the ADA by $75 a student, and they're like, that's $10 billion or whatever it is. And I'm like, but you're dividing it by 5 million students, and it doesn't amount to anything.
Well,
so
and the current allotment is what, 6,100?
yes,
$61.60.
$75.
It's like
I mean,
1%.
it's insulting.
It's 1%.
Really. Yes.
And
Plus,
so,
I was gonna say, plus, you were talking earlier about getting that $15,000. We didn't get any of that.
No,
because
the
we're a formula transition grant.
grant.
So even though they gave it out and they touted giving it out, the 90 some odd of us in the state formula transition grant districts didn't get a penny of that.
and what you need to understand, I mean, formula transition grant is funded by $400 million. It's capped at $400 million. And it's pro-rata divvied up between the schools that qualify for it, and we're one of them. We get $3.5 million of that $400 million, right? Well, now what they've done is they've taken $500 million, they're giving it to private school vouchers, and they've reduced, and I mean, I guess we should be thankful because they've never done anything to date on formula transition grant, but just recently, and they buried in Senate Bill 2 at midnight, they said, we're going to extend formula transition grants for 1 year, but we're going to cap it at $65 million. So they're reducing it from $400 million to $65 million, and we're trying to figure out what the real impacts of that is. Good news is, House. Nothing has passed the House. Representative Stuckey, Representative Hayes, Representative Timish, you need to get a hold of them. You need to let them know where you stand on Senate Bill 1 and Senate Bill 2. There are people, there are a rural group of senators in the House that are against Senate Bill 1, and they need to hear from us, that our representatives, that we don't think that's the best thing for public education as well, is to create a bigger, fatter state government and give away $40 million when you have school districts that need that money. So,
And
thank you.
Representative Baumgartner is part of
Yes.
Argyle.
Well, I
ISD
got
as
someone
well.
else to call.
Yes.
So,
So how did you feel about things?
It was, they're not inviting me back.
Well,
I
I think it's good discussion.
I want to
But-
personally thank Leanne, Liz, Dr. Carpenter, but also especially you, Josh, because you've been texting all of these people
Yes.
over and over,
Yes.
months from months. And so I really just appreciate all of y'all's advocacy and taking the time and presenting to people. Thank you.
well, even when we were at a legislative luncheon on Friday, Senator Parker was there and Representative Hayes was there and able to speak with both of them. But their workers in Austin were calling Dr. Carpenter as we were there with them, asking for more information, more empirical data of how the funding crisis really is here in Argyle ISD. And so everyone who has, taken the opportunity to email the letters to our representatives and the governor, it's working. And so we want to continue to encourage the community because we are a high-performing district, and the mindset in Austin is that there's only funding issues in low-performing districts, and that's just not the truth. So
I'm not done.
oh my gosh.
They will tell you, well, we need to fix these schools that are struggling and underperforming. And that's why we need to have ESAs and vouchers. But they haven't restricted the money to kids that are underprivileged and in school districts that are underperforming. They're making it available to kids that are in private school last year. So that, again, the hypocrisy of that statement is like, if you took the money and you targeted those school districts and you targeted those kids, I understand it, but you're not. You're not doing that with the money. You're giving it to the kids that are in private school last year.
Well, I think that's a good point too, because the representatives that I talked to, and you mentioned it hasn't passed the House, they're willing to consider a pilot program that focuses on those districts first. They're willing to increase the student allotment almost 10 or 12-fold what this $75 is. Still not enough, right? We're experiencing 40% inflation since 2019, and we're not getting anywhere close to it. But I think it is important, as you said, to reach out to those representatives. I was shocked. All of them responded to me. I talked on the phone with a couple of them, and they, from a even Senator Parker responded, although we didn't agree. The representatives are still there and still fighting to help support our kids and our community. So I think it is important to reach out to them. They are interested to hear. They were more interested to hear when I also told them that maybe we have to stop. If this goes through, we're going to have to stop funding campaigns and start donating more to schools.
Yeah.
I looked at our donations tonight, and that's when it hit me. I'm like, I guess we got to stop supporting these campaigns of these local politicians, because we're going to have to take that money and donate it to the schools.
Yeah.
It's the only way we're going to keep them going. Well, I got immediate responses from them when I said that. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for the discussion. Appreciate that.
Dialogue.
I don't know. It was a dialogue.
Almost a monologue.
It's okay. It's healthy. All right, we're ready.
Anything else in your report?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to our information only section. We have elementary.
I think it's Mr.
number
Daniel.
4
I think he's
principal.
up for A, B, and C.
So these next 3 items are just information only. We'll be bringing recommendations to you next month for your approval. The first one, just piggybacking off of Mr. Cohen's presentation, we'll be opening up a new school next year, and we're going to need a principal in place. And so we would like to bring that to you for approval, to approve the position in November with a potential hire in December, and get that person on board and begin starting to look at staffing. Okay. Next is probably one of the most ludicrous ones, but it's a good cause resolution. So you guys have been talking about House Bill 3. One of the requirements of that is to have an officer on each of your campuses, which we do. We've been ahead of the curve on that for a while now. But if they're not on your campus like all of the time, if they're sick, if they attend a meeting, or they're in training and you don't have somebody there the entire minutes of the day, then there is something called a good cause exemption, which we are going to ask for your approval of. It was our legal team looked at this and recommended that we do this, even though we're already doing more than most places are as far as staffing every single campus with a police officer at $15,000 a person. And so that's one resolution. And then there's another one. This came up out of the last legislative session with allowing chaplains to serve in the role of a counselor in the case of an emergency, and we are not going to do that. We have, we're staffed very well with counselors, and training is just different for the support of our students. So we'll be bringing that to you as well next month for approval.
The law requires the board to take a recorded vote on that, so.
And is it kind of like a negative vote saying that right now we have the option to?
Right. We're just
But
choosing not to.
Right.
Yeah, and my question would be, that's only if they don't have the counseling licensing.
Yes.
If you're a chaplain and have a counseling licensing, then you are
Eligible.
eligible.
Yes, of course,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes. This would just be replacing a counselor with a chaplain that's not a certified school
Okay.
counselor. Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so this is information for a budget amendment that we plan to bring back to you next month for action. This is one of our more standard ones that we bring to you just about every year. When we're ending a fiscal year, we have projects or orders that do not come in or get completed by 8/31, but they were part of the previous year's budget. They were approved and all the actions were taken to get that done, but the item either it arrives after 8/31, August 31, or the if it's a service or some sort of contract, it happens after 8/31. And so we've gone through, spent some time identifying what those are for the end of last year, and this amendment is to bring those items forward into this year's budget. And what it does is the money, it'll show as unspent and roll into fund balance on our books as of 8/31, and then we amend this year. So I know it's a negative look right now when you look at this increasing a deficit budget, but these are funds that were unspent from last year that we're bringing forward. So there were all items that were approved. You can scroll down to the next one. They're all on the expenditure side. So in here, you'll see the largest item there is in instruction. Most of those were some setup at 6th grade center. We had some orders that did not arrive before 8/31, and then we had some band instruments that were ordered last spring that still had not arrived. Some of them still aren't even here yet. But those two items make up the biggest amount there. There's some, uniforms along the way, supplies, supply orders. The security one there, the $19,000 there, that was left over from the car setup that we purchased. So we actually we received the vehicle before 8/31, but part of that cost is also setting up the vehicle. That didn't happen until after 8/31. There's also some setup of new officers there, some uniforms there. And then the $28,500 in facilities and acquisition, those were the tennis shades that were approved in last year's budget and actually were completed in this fiscal year. So all of those items, again, were approved last year, part of last year's funds, just bringing it forward this year because of timing. And then on the student nutrition fund, that's the same thing there. In August, keep going down. In August, the board approved purchasing of equipment there of $125,000 out of student nutrition funds, and of course none of those items came in before 8/31 or were installed before 8/31. So we're just rolling that forward. That was in her fund balance from last year, bringing it forward then to complete those items. I think it was combi ovens, tilt skillets, and some hot water heaters there.
Liz, what did we bring to the fund balance from last year?
So right now our audit's not complete, but what we're sitting at right now is about 1.1 million.
So from last year, that was excess.
That would access, and so that would be, not talking student nutrition, but talking just the general fund. That would be $148,300 of that 1.1 million, are things that were not completed as of 8/31.
So that makes it more palatable.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Where are we at with our fund balance? We have to be 2 months.
We're actually, barring any other changes that I don't know about at this point, we'll sit about 26% as of the end of last year. So our goal, as we've talked about, is 25%. We've been above that. We went from 28% down to now 26%. So we're trending in the wrong direction, but we're trying to bring things back around and keep that fund balance up there.
So the state requires what percent? It's not 25.
No, 60 days, which would be 2 months. And I believe our policy actually says the same, 60 days. We've always operated trying to maintain 3 months.
I just wanted to make sure that we knew we were already setting our goal
correct.
above the state and we're above our goal.
Right, we still meet any, I believe that comes into play in the first rating, the financial integrity rating system, and that's the 60 days, and we're well above that.
So 2 months is basically 17%, 16.7.
Yeah,
So we're well above that.
that's correct.
Okay.
All right, any questions on it? Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. All right, we're gonna move on down to action. Dr. Carpenter briefly mentioned this earlier.
Okay, Section 25 of the Texas Education Code requires class sizes in grades K to 4 of 22 to 1. Grades 5 to 12, it's just an average. There's no cap for those grades. If you go over 22 in any classroom, then you can apply for a waiver, which is what we are planning to do. We have 2 classes that are at 23 at Argyle South. We did go over 22 last school year, but it was during the last 12 weeks of the school year. And if it's during the last 12 weeks of the school year, you don't have to ask for a waiver. We're getting close at Hilltop also in the same grade. This is in 2nd grade. At Hilltop, there's 5 classes, and those numbers in those classes right now are 21, 22, 22, 22, and 22. So as Dr. Carpenter mentioned earlier, 2 more students in that grade will have to ask for another waiver. The other option, which we don't recommend right now, is you can hire another teacher, but there is also no place to put that teacher at that campus.
Because
And it would,
they're at their functional capacity.
yeah,
Right.
they've got every room full. All of them do. We've walked them again. So
Didn't find any new rooms?
Didn't find any new rooms.
So this one is not information, this is an action item.
Right.
Yep. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Daniel? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 11A as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Hawksworth, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Westrom, second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. The time is 8:08 p.m. and we are adjourned.